Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Julie.
The thing that I want to ask you about today, Julie, is steak. What do we need to know about cooking the perfect steak in a pan?
Well, I think it's important to mention that you don't need to have a grill for a great steak. It's not a lesser way of cooking steak. And if you have a cast iron skillet, it's a great way to conduct the heat. It'll hold onto the heat. You can get it smoking hot.
Now, what kind of role does the beef play? Because we're lucky, we've got great beef here in Alberta.
Good steaks go a long way because we're not going to marinate them. We're not going to, rub them down with spices. Just a little bit of salt. I've got some strip loins, which are fairly common, and ribeye.
Delicious. Your favorite. The fat is where the flavor lives.
Oh, the marbling. You want to look for, a good steak with a little bit of marbling. Make sure it's a grilling steak. Some are just better if you cook them low and slow. And this is fast and hot. So they need to come out of the fridge for about 20 or 30 minutes before they go into the pan so they're not fridge cold. You want to pat them dry with some paper towel just to get rid of any surface moisture, and that'll make a nice crisp crust. And a little bit of salt. So hot pan. If it's nice and hot, smoking hot going in, if you want to add a little bit of oil, you can use some canola. Some people don't use any oil at all. You probably don't need oil. You want to hear that sizzle.
Sounds delicious already.
So the salt I can see has drawn out some moisture on the other side, so I'm just going to pat it dry again. And if you like, check this out.
Garlic.
Get a head of garlic and just kind of just rub,
And that's enough to get the flavor in there?
It'll infuse it with a little bit of garlic, yeah. So then, we just want to let it sit and develop a nice bottom crust. You don't want to move it around. You don't
so
want to
this is where we
poke at
don't
it.
touch it.
Don't touch it. Just leave it alone and brush it with some fresh herbs. Play with it. Just don't move it. Throw some. It makes you feel chefy, right? When you take some herbs and you kind of but not necessary. You just want to leave it so that it can develop a nice bottom crust.
Ooh.
You can see it's got a nice crust. Now, some people will turn it every minute. Some people say only to flip it once. There are so many different ways to make a steak.
But how do we know when it's done?
Well, you could use a thermometer and go for about 135, 140 for medium rare. But it's easier to just touch it. And you can tell that, it's getting more and more done as the meat tightens up. If you feel the palm of your hand, that's what raw meat feels like. And if you tighten it just by touching your first finger, it tightens a little bit. That's what rare feels like, medium rare, medium well, and well done. It tightens that muscle there. And so that sort of simulates how the meat changes as it cooks. So if you touch it with your impeccably clean hands, you can tell it's a little bit more done on the edges, but then feel right here.
Perfect.
A little bit softer. So it feels right. We're going to take it out of the pan. Let it rest just for a few minutes, and while we do that, we can loosen up these brown bits in the bottom of the pan. This is the benefit of browning your meat. It creates flavor. It doesn't seal in the juices. It just adds another layer of flavor because butter makes everything better.
Oh, there you go.
Nice crispy bits.
Delicious.
We just eat it with our fingers.
I think that's a great idea. Every good chef always taste tests.
Let's go.
That is perfect. That is so good. I think I can even do that at home.
I think you could. I'm going to send you home with one just to practice.
And I will. Thanks, Julie.